So today I'm going to talk about my kit, but more importantly, 5 things that I think have made a really big difference to my landscape photography. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about my kit. I'm going to Skye and Glencoe over the next few days to hopefully do some photography and some vlogs as well. And I thought it'd be a really good opportunity once I've got all my kit out to go through it. So I'm going to try and get through it as quickly as I can. So as I go through my things, I'm going to highlight 5 things that I think will make a really big difference to your photography. It certainly has for me. Okay, so my main camera is the Nikon D810. I've had a Nikon since the D100, and prior to that I had film cameras. It's sturdy, solid. As long as you don't drop it in the sea, then it withstands most things. I've dropped it a few times, it's been banged and battered, but it's still going really strong. The lens that I have most of the time on my Nikon D810 is the 24-70 lens. It's just a fantastic high quality lens, f2.8, and it allows you to get a really good range from wide angle to sort of semi-zoom. So yeah, the 24-70 is a fantastic lens. Yeah, so this brings me on my D810 to the first item that I think is really important to get good photos, and this is this L bracket. This is something that I have to be honest, I didn't use for a long time, but when I started using it, it just saved me so much time and allowed me to quickly get photos. There's nothing worse than putting your camera on the tripod like that and having it connected here and it going like that and moving. And if you've got a long exposure of maybe 5 seconds, then you just get blurred photos. You just don't want that to happen. So that L bracket, and there's loads on the market, is just fantastic. Now, a top tip for this, which I actually saw from Simon Baxter actually, he posted on Twitter where he'd put some fluff on his L bracket to protect his new shiny new camera. My L bracket came loose quite a bit, and what I've done is I put some padding between the L bracket and my camera, which saves my camera from getting scratched, but also it's super sturdy now, it locks really tight, and that's made a really big difference. So now let's go on to the Nikon 70-200 lens. I've had this lens for a long time, well over 10 years, and I've taken so many great photos with it. It's an f2.8 lens. It is expensive, it's definitely expensive, but it's well worth it. I've taken so many good photos from my 70-200, and a good tip I give you is that if you're struggling with composition when you go somewhere and you can see lots of great looking light, then get your 70-200 on your camera. Don't worry about the foreground too much and just go in a little bit tighter on the landscape, and you'll find that you'll get some amazing shots. So I definitely recommend that if you're struggling with composition. I also, looking at the lenses, take with me a really wide angle 16-35mm Nikon VR lens. I sometimes use this for video as well because it's got vibration reduction. Then I'll often use this for video as well, but again, it's a really super sharp lens. Okay, so I've also then got some filters. So I have 3 filter systems that I use. I've always used Lee filters, but to be honest, I'm less impressed with them now than I used to be. I've had a few problems with the color neutrality of some of the filters. So what I've done is I've tried different filters. I got the Nissi filter, which is really good, and I definitely recommend it. But I've recently, the guys at Format High Tech, they've sent me a couple of filters, and I'm going to test in these over the next few days. And that is the 10-stop ND filter and a polarizing filter for my Fuji camera. And that sort of brings me on to my second most important thing in my bag really, and that is my polarizer. I think this is the filter that I know this is the filter that I use most often. It really is a fantastic filter. It allows you to break through haze in the atmosphere, which is fantastic. It also allows you to cut off the reflection on water so you can see underneath the water, and it really transforms moving, flowing water, which I talked about in a vlog in autumn a few months ago. And it can add something different that I don't think you can do in post-processing. So this filter, if I could take any filter, it would be the polarizing filter. It's the most important filter in my bag. I also recommend this as well. So Pelican cases, as they are in America, I'm sure everybody uses them. Fantastic for transporting your equipment through airports especially. But I use smaller versions of the Pelican cases as well. So like this one, which is really good because it allows me to put all my SD cards and my micro SD cards, and it's super tough, weather shielded as well. And to be honest, if you think about it, this is your prized possession. The photos that you take on your SD cards is your prized possession, so you need to make sure they're really, really well protected. So I used to have a soft case, and now I moved to this hard case, which is fantastic. The final of the 5 things that I think are really important on any photo shoot is this, which is a cable release. Often I use the timer to ensure that I don't get any camera vibration, but what this does, this shutter release, is it allows me to take a photo at the exact time that I want to take that photo. So it means that I can reduce any vibrations in the camera. I can make sure that I'm timing the photo just very accurately. So it's really good if you're by the sea and trying to get waves crash in, or if you're just trying to get the moment when some light's coming over, like the other day when I was on the moors trying to get the light coming over really quickly. You don't want to have a timer there, because by the time the timer's gone down 2 or 5 seconds, you might have missed it. With this, you can just click it and take that photo. I also have lots of bags. You can probably see this green bag here in the frame. And these bags allow me to just carry small bits of things. So this one allows me to carry all the audio equipment for my video, and I've got a number of these types of bags to just carry batteries, to carry things like this colour card. And so what I do is I put lots of these bags in my big camera bag so that everything's not loose, and these are really, really good. Again, I've linked the description to these down in the show notes below. And yeah, this bag here is a fantastic, I can't even remember the brand name, but again, I've linked it below. It's great for going in a rucksack. So if I'm hiking and doing a camp over or something like that, I can get my camera equipment in here, put it in the bottom of my rucksack. I think Thomas Heaton does the same thing. I saw it on a video that he released on his gear recently. It's just really good. It just goes in your bag, and you can pull it out, and you've got all your camera equipment. So if you don't want to take your standard camera bag like this, you've taken a bigger hiking bag, then that is great. In terms of my camera bag, this is my camera bag. It's a Low Pro. It's about 20 years old. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because you can't even buy it anymore. I love it. I don't want to change it. Okay, so part 2 of this. I didn't have time to finish the whole thing before I came to Glencoe and Skye, and I'm now in Skye. This is my pod. Welcome to my pod. You'll see a little bit more of this in some of the videos over the next couple of weeks. I've just had an amazing time in Skye, albeit very wet. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about my video equipment that I use. Now, some of it is the same as my stills equipment, but I've also got some dedicated things that I just use for video. And there have been quite a few people ask me about various bits and pieces, so I thought I'd go through them. So first of all, sound. So sound's really important in video. It's probably one of the most important things. If you don't have the sound right, if the sound doesn't sound right, the voice or the sounds of the environment, then that makes a really big difference to the video. So I record all my sound on a Zoom external recorder, and I have a couple of lav mics, and don't touch it when you're about to talk. So I have a couple of lav mics like that, and I'd say 95% of my sound is with a lav mic. If you see any of my videos, you'll see me with a lav mic on. So I definitely recommend that. I always have little furry squirrels that I put on my lav mic because it's always really windy. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll see that the weather's never that great, so that's important. And then in terms of the video content, then I take some with my D810. So some of the stuff where I'm walking around, I shoot my D810, and I usually have on it a 50mm f1.8 lens, which I haven't got with me unfortunately here. And then a lot of the video that I also use is on this action camera, which is a Yi action camera. It shoots in 4K, and I shoot most stuff in 4K so that I can crop it afterwards. This is really good. It's really good for just clamping to something. So I use it with this, and I just clamp it onto maybe a tree or a post, and that allows me to get walking shots, etc. And I also do a lot to camera with my Fuji X-T2 in 4K as well, with a 10 to 24mm lens. This is phenomenally good at focusing. It's really fast at autofocusing, and it detects my face and focuses on my face really well. And it's also really good at low light, whereas this is not so good at low light. So I'd switch between both of these. I always take both of them though with me. And then the final thing is this little baby here, which is my Mavic. I absolutely love it. You've probably seen loads of my drone shots in my videos. Unfortunately, today I could only shoot a little bit at the in the morning, so but it was really good footage. And I shot quite a lot in Glencoe recently as well. So this is a fantastic tool to be able to tell a story in your videos, and it makes a really big difference to me. I also use it for stills as well. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much the video stuff I use. Like I say, I also use my Nikon D810. Now, one thing I realized in my video that I did back at home was I didn't show you my tripod that I use. Now, I've just been given another tripod from Benro, and I wanted to just show you the head on that because I think it's really, really good. I'm really pleased with it for the last couple of days that I've been using it. So I'll show you that now. This is the tripod. I don't show the whole tripod, it's the head that's really the important bit. It's an FTA 28C Travel Angel. It's really, really light, but the head is really good on it. So there's two reasons why it's really good. One, this is just such a great friction ball head, so it just works really well. It's really good size, and that makes a big difference when you're trying to do something out in the field. And then the other thing, which is really good, and it's much better than my Manfrotto tripod, is this that connects the Arc Swiss mount, and it's just so much more robust. It goes in so much better. So this just has a spring-loaded system that you pull out and turn, and it locks on so well, and it gives you a lot of confidence that it's really well locked onto your camera. So I'm really impressed with it. I think it's sturdy, even though it's lightweight. Obviously there's a compromise. When you have a lightweight tripod, it's never going to be quite as good as a heavier tripod, but it's pretty good. I've hung my bag on it, and it works, yeah, really well. I'm really pleased with it. Yeah, it's good, isn't it, that? So just to recap on the 5 things that I think are really important for landscape photography, I've got them here. So I missed one out in the one back at home, but I'm going to go through that now. This is just crucial. To be able to get really sharp shots and not rely on that self-timer. Never press the button on top of the camera. It makes a really big difference when you use a remote shutter. This is amazing. Today I dropped this in the snow and I'm so pleased that I had it, because obviously it has all my data on it, all my videos on it, and all my stills on it, and it's really robust. So really recommend getting one of those. And my polarizing filter, I have 2 now, one for my XT2 and one for my D810, which is my Lee one still. And yeah, it's amazing. One thing you just to remember on this, unidirectional. So if you're looking through it to see what the effect it might have before you put it on your camera, then make sure you have the screw thread facing towards you, because if you turn it the other way and turn it, then it doesn't work correctly. It doesn't polarize the light. It only polarizes the light coming through in that direction, not coming through in that direction. And yeah, the final thing, which I didn't talk about in my previous video, but has been invaluable to me, and was the thing I was going to talk to you about, but forgot: lens wipes. They are amazing. I use Zeiss lens wipes, which I buy in like 500. I put them in, put 20, 30 in my bag. They're really light and they just throw away. You can just clean your lens really quickly, and it evaporates its alcohol. And that's it. So thanks ever so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate everybody. I'm sorry that I couldn't be out in the field this week, but hopefully you've found this interesting. I did ask on Instagram if everyone would be interested in a video like this, and I think it was something like 84% of people said yes, they would. And I think there was a response of about 200 or 300 people. So hopefully you'll find it useful. There's no secrets to my gear. I'm sure everybody else has got similar gear, but I think that long lens is something that I really, if you don't have a long lens, then I'd really recommend going out and getting one, because I think that will really help with composition if you struggle with composition. Okay, until next week, see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.